Gord wants the province to create a stable drug funding program that eliminates the high deductible. It must cater to the unique needs of transplant patients.
Gord, can you tell us a little bit about the problems that you've been experiencing since you had your liver transplant?
The problems primarily surround the drugs, what I'd characterize as the drug problem. It's not the problem with the drugs, it's the problem with paying for them. I've been fortunate in my life that in my past I was relatively successful in my career. However, this has seen to it to effectively diminish my standard of living significantly, and promises to continue doing so until I'm literally impoverished. The organ that I have is foreign to my own immune system and will be attacked by it and destroyed. That would not end well for me. So I'm on this medication, one of the early ones called Neural. Actually, cyclosporin is the technical term for it. And I'm on a fairly significant dose of that twice a day. It's relatively expensive, but I don't actually know how much it costs. I think something in the order of $1,000, maybe $1,300 a month for that supply.
Okay.
The reason why I don't know the cost of that is because since the 1980s, when transplants first were considered a viable therapy, these drugs have been funded by the province of Ontario. Another medication that's being prescribed is for the purpose of anti-rejection. I don't believe it's actually been approved for liver transplant patients, but I'm certain it's been approved for kidney transplant patients, and it will very soon be approved for use in my case, is a product called Myfortec. It's expensive. Okay. Its primary goal is also anti-rejection, and it's part of my daily regime, my twice daily regime. It is not funded by the provincial government in the same way that the cyclosporin is. The funding model for that is through the Trillium Drug Plan, which has been created to fund medications for people perceived to be in need of that type of funding. Fortunate enough to have taken a responsible approach to life's financial issues, are caught in a trap where we are not effectively funded by Trillium and experience considerable difficulty, well, impossibility, getting private insurance, and enrollment in an employer-funded extended health care benefits program, in my case, remains a question mark. I do not know if I will qualify for any form of private insurance. The bottom line, I'm entirely dependent on the increasing costs as this drug that I pay for, this one that the province pays for, I'm entirely hung out to dry on this. The costs of this medication are, I'm taking an educated guess here, I have bought it, I'm just going by memory, but some, in my case now, $300 a month. That is a variable. It can change almost on a daily basis. That could go to $600 a month. It could go to $1,000 a month. I get a phone call as a result of a once every 2-week blood test to tell me how much or how little of that medication to take. It's a variable that there is no way to plan for, and it's a big variable. The Trillium deductible, I believe, is some 3 or 4% of the income, of the before-tax income I earned in those years. That amounts to a pretty substantial deductible, one that even makes the pharmacies and the doctors go, what? Because the deductible is basically unaffordable on a CPP disability pension. That $1,100 a month, let's call it, for the sake of a round number, $800 or $900 a month in drugs doesn't leave me a whole lot to eat and pay my other routine day-to-day bills. It means I gradually deplete my savings, my RRSPs, my whatever, and eventually sell my home and blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the day, I live as a dependent on the state. It's not my goal. It's not my mission. It's just my future.